Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Bruce here, traveling with Bruce. Today's video is all about what it's like to be on a cruise ship for 19 straight days on a back-to-back cruise, and in particular, being on the ship that's right behind me here, the Queen Mary 2. This is one big vessel, special, a one of a kind. It is not a cruise ship. It is an ocean liner. And there's a difference, I can tell you right now. This ship is designed to tackle the North Atlantic and any rough seas out there. And she can go very quickly, up to 30 miles an hour, stable, and very, very spacious. I have to say, before Jennifer and I got on this ship, we were doing our research, and I did a lot of digging about this vessel to just see what people thought of her and what it was like. Here's a shot of the vessel in New York with the Statue of Liberty. And I tell you, time after time, I came up with, found videos where people were on the ship and were talking about how roomy it was. Even though 2,600 passengers can be on the ship with 1,300 crew, that's 4,000 people. You'd think you'd be crammed onto this thing, but no. This is such a large vessel, very wide and long, with lots of decks. No, it is quite roomy. This shot right here from the aft, the back of the ship. This is not an exaggeration. You'll see in a minute. I have some videos that I took. These are just publicity shots that are perfectly made with probably color add-ons and so on. But this is not an exaggeration of how roomy this ship can be. The cabin we had was a balcony cabin with what we call a sheltered balcony cabin. And you'll see that in a minute as well. Here's a better shot of the balcony area. There's our bed there and the couch, little love seat. And you can see the door you go through to get to the balcony. But you're actually sheltered above and on both sides. And you have kind of an opening to look out of. Very unique. We crossed the Atlantic first from, no, that's our next trip coming up. We left New York City on the 23rd of August until we got to Southampton on the 30th. And then we took this cruise here from Southampton. We never got off the ship and went up around all of the UK, Scottish Isles, and back to Southampton, 12 days. So we had a 7-day cruise and a 12-day cruise. And high marks indeed for this cruise line. The Queen Mary 2 ship itself, the staff, the service, food, accommodation, and general overall atmosphere. People were very happy on board this ship. And I'll tell you, there's several aspects to going on one of these cruise ships, on one of this particular ocean liner, is that at the beginning you are overwhelmed with the ship, but then eventually you enjoy yourself on the ship with quiz time or whatever you're doing. And after a while, you stop looking at the ship and start looking outside where you're sailing, and you really are blown away. Here's a shot of Liverpool, and here's a shot of our balcony. This is, I think, our first morning on the North Atlantic. I couldn't believe it. This water here, I mean, this is like a lake in Ontario, Canada, or Minnesota. I mean, this is the North Atlantic. We lucked out. Let's not kid ourselves. We lucked out with some fantastic weather on this voyage. Let me show you sort of the first few hours. We were here in New York, and you have to forgive my photography. I'm just using an Apple iPhone here. And here we are looking out over the harbor area. We're in Brooklyn, getting ready to leave at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a Friday. And so a lot of folks are enjoying this wonderful 80, 85-degree day in New York. A lot of folks started renting, they're renting Sea-Doos out there. They're going on ferry rides, souvenir rides. Others are catching ferries to Staten Island or wherever they're going to and coming from. Private vessels are out. And I'm just out on the deck here, just walking around, filming Manhattan over there, and then I saw of course, the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, got to get that shot, and so we zoomed in on that. If you look on YouTube, you will find videos done in an incredibly professional manner of departing New York or arriving into New York on various cruise ships, including this one, and you can really get your fill of high-end quality work. I just wanted to give you an idea of what it really is like. What's it really like for an average couple to go on this ship and see, experience, a typical departure from New York from what your angle would be. We were not in a fancy owner suite or anything of that nature. We were on one of the sheltered balcony cabins, and I took advantage of the promenade deck that you saw there as my premium way of seeing this ship. Here's a shot here of me walking on this deck towards the end of our entire journey, and I asked Jennifer. I said, "Hey Jen, why don't you film me walking on the promenade deck? I've done, I don't know, 100 loops around it." Maybe not 100, but a bunch. And so, this is typically me, depending on how cool it was or what have you. I'm just hamming it up a little bit for the camera. There I am. Absolutely fabulous. And I'll tell you, that shot of me walking with so little activity around me, this is not unusual. Again, there were days when we were leaving or walking on the promenade deck where there were more people on it, but there were also days where you're not by yourself. I promised you a shot at the end at the back of the ship here. Look at this. This is the end of the promenade deck where you do the loop around the back of the ship and continue on. And here we are out at sea. There's no one in there. Every day that I was out here, I did see, on the warmest days, there were maybe 20 people out here. And there would be 1 or 2 people in the pool and 2 or 3 in the jacuzzi back there in the hot tub. But it was also quite common where you'd only see a handful of people walking along and getting their exercise in, and only 1 or 2 people back here, maybe 4 or 5. It was 2,600 passengers. Where is everybody? Quite interesting. Now there's more than one pool. This isn't the only pool, to be fair. There were 2 others, one indoor pool, another outdoor on top of that deck up there. And so there were a number of places you could go if you wanted to go into the pool and enjoy, or the jacuzzi, of course. Here's a shot that I took where I'm going to shut up now. You can actually hear the air itself. This particular video coming up is me walking along the promenade deck on the not so windy side of the ship. Okay, so let's show you this. can tell you this never gets old. Being able to walk the promenade deck every day, it's every day is different. It's never the same view twice. The sounds, it's addictive. Listening to the waves that are made by the ship, the waves that the ship is running into or running along with, just absolutely fabulous. As I said earlier, the number one thing you realize when you're on the ship, the first thing you realize is the ship itself. It is absolutely amazing. See if I can show this for you here. Here we go. This is again just yours truly trying to show off the ship from one of the lobby areas. This is the second level down where the main lobby area is, and I am just overwhelmed with the quality of the ship itself. The lighting. This is so Art Deco-ish. It's fantastic. I love this era. I love this look. The different woods and grains and how clean everything is. Stairways over here, and you can see one side of the ship all the way over there. The other thing you notice on the ship is so much history is displayed on various walls. You cannot really see it all on a 7-day cruise. If you're on a 7-day cruise, you will spend an hour or two a day just looking at this stuff. If you really wanted to, it is really fantastic. The history of the Cunard line, history of Great Britain, the Second World War information, cruising. It is just beautiful. The carpeting is gorgeous. The artwork on the walls, absolutely stunning. The flower display in the middle of the lobby area where the purser's office is and where the shops are. It's just amazing. After a while, it sort of just blends in, and you start feeling guilty because you're not totally appreciating the ship for what it is. Here's a shot here of the grand lobby area from another angle. You'll see here in just a second the flower arrangement that I showed up earlier. But here, looking up, you see this amazing artwork. You see North America over there, and on the other side is Europe. And oh my God, this is just amazing. Like I say, the first day or two, you're overwhelmed with the ship. You're just blown away by the fact that you're on a floating museum that is actually an ocean liner, functional, get you from point A to point B. We're going 25 miles an hour in the open Atlantic, traveling over 500 miles a day. And we're making this, 2,500, 3,000 mile crossing. Like no problem at all. There's the second level, the shops up there. And it's got to be 4 or 5 stories tall in here. It's absolutely magnificent with this phenomenal staircase. Here's that flower arrangement you saw earlier. And I thought, well, I'll use my amateur's technique here, hold my phone up and just kind of walk around it to show you folks. This changes virtually daily. Virtually every day they change the flower arrangement. And people are taking photos of this area every day of the journey. Absolutely fantastic. I was telling you earlier about the history of the vessel and the history of the cruise line. There's an area on the at the front of the ship. Might be on deck 1 or 2. I'm not sure exactly where we are, but on the walls of this hallway, public hallway, they have so much history put up here with all kinds of plaques and other kinds of artwork of different ports that the ship has visited over the years. City of Liverpool right there. Here's I think this is Cadiz in Spain, the oldest city in Europe, where a lot of ships go to get refurbished, by the way, Cadiz. And, you have this information on the 2 walls here. There's an audio guide that you can also download off your phone, and it'll tell you, stop here at number 1, number 2, number 3, and you're listening to the history of the cruise line. This just goes on and on, hours. You can spend hours down here. If you're, if it's a sea day and it's rainy and it's miserable out, you come down here and just entertain yourself with this information. If you're not feeling well, or you're tired, or you're in your room, one of the neat things about this ship is that they have a presentation every day, several presentations a day from speakers who are, knowledgeable about various topics, and they record them. They record these speeches, and then on your television in your room, you can rewatch these all you want. And I got a real kick out of that. I didn't go to any of the live presentations. I just watched the television for these speeches. There was one gentleman talking about the Enigma machine, how the Allies broke the code that Germans had perfected, or thought they had perfected. I took photos like this here of private photos that have been donated to Cunard from children of soldiers who were on the Queen Mary 2 way back when, during the war years. Look at all of these people. Look at all of these, the greatest generation that fought the Second World War. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, yeah, the Enigma machine and the World War II and the history of the of King Edward, who abdicated for Mary Wallace Simpson. History of the family, and just amazing information. Some of these speeches are so captivating. They're like a half an hour, 45 minutes long. And you're just sitting there on your bed watching this, and you're just going, this is incredible. And they have slides and photos of their topics. In the meantime, you've got this history lesson right beneath you here on the ship itself about the Churchill days, the Second World War days, the post-war era. You're not bored. I can believe you me, you will not be bored if you're a history buff, if you're a cruise ship buff, if you're interested in the history of Cunard. You're gonna love this ship. Absolutely amazing. How we're talking about how to get the kids away from London during the bombing and the Battle of Britain, and had information here about Sea of Troops, for example, 5,000 at a time on these on the Queen Mary going across from America to Britain and back after the war was over, getting them back home. Unbelievable. And then they had, I think, over here, was it? Yeah, the brides, the war brides, after the war was over, the reuniting soldiers and their new brides and children. Yes, all kinds of things were going on during the Second World War. Anyway, the ship is the star of the show, no question about it. You're just overwhelmed with the history of the vessel and the line. It's almost endless. It's fantastic. Here's something else that was available. Is on every deck, in every elevator, stairways, hallways, artwork. Incredible artwork. Look at the quality of this artwork. This is a painting done a while ago, and look at how detailed, and it looks like a photograph, but it's a painting. What skill! What incredible skill! And of course, the people on the ship itself, all to scale. Amazing. The Queen Mary, the original Queen Mary. She's now, of course, in Long Beach, California, and you can stay on her as a floating hotel. But she was the Queen of the Atlantic for decades. She was the ship to be on, along with the Queen Elizabeth. And seeing these artworks, I'm showing you just one of probably 500 different artworks that are out there. There's no end to it. Yeah, it was really something. Of course, we crossed the Atlantic first 7 days from New York to Southampton. And during the trip, Jennifer and I knew we weren't getting off the ship at Southampton. We're going to stay on it for 12 more days. What are the logistics of doing that? And you go to the purser's office in the main lobby, and they tell you everything. They helped us switch over our keys on the day of arrival into Southampton, and we got our new keys for the same cabin for the next 12 days. And we got off the ship there's a certain area where passengers who are not departing can get off the ship. And you look back at the mayhem behind you, and here you have it. These are the folks who are now, I believe, coming onto the ship. This is the next batch of cruisers coming onto the ship, and some getting off the ship who are leaving. And there's cabs coming and going all day long. And they had a special bus just for us to go to downtown Southampton. No charge, drop you off, pick you up. And because it's a second cruise, when we got on the ship in New York, we brought 2 bottles of wine with us, which is allowed. And when we got to Southampton, we bought 2 more bottles of wine, and I bought myself some diet caffeine-free Coke. And we were able to bring that on board, and we had a day in downtown Southampton, just hung out at this beautiful shopping mall, got to be 4 or 5 stories tall. Very nice, clean, very comfortable, lots of locals, lots of tourists here, and picked up a few things and enjoyed several hours just hanging out here and stretching our legs and enjoying ourselves. Back to the ship after it was all done to leave Southampton. We note it was a beautiful day when we left Southampton, and here we are. You might notice I'm going to try to pause this if I can. I'm not sure if I can do this, but there's the Britannia there. There she is. That huge ship. That's 4,000 passengers, and she was leaving. She was leaving after we left, about half an hour later, out of Southampton. And beautiful, gorgeous, beautiful day all day. It was in the high 70s. Water was completely calm, of course, in the harbor, and beautiful to leave. I don't know, 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and it was a Friday coming out, just like we left New York on a Friday, and people getting a good look at things. On our voyage into Scotland, we got into I think we were in an area called Inverness, and here's where you notice these offshore oil rigs. These basically are parked here and probably being refurbished and or being reassigned eventually. But you're looking here at the new Scotland. You've got the old town with the old church and the old buildings, and now the newly wealthy Scotland because of all the money being made from offshore oil and offshore wind farms. The amount of energy that the ocean is giving off is unbelievable for, of course, the UK and obviously Europe. But it was a miserable time, unfortunately, for us that particular day. It wasn't all that pretty. We stayed on the ship this particular day. It was a mucky, rainy day, but still interesting to see the contrast between old and new and new and old. Telling you earlier about our balcony unit. Here's a shot that Jennifer shot first thing in the morning. We were in Cove, Ireland here, our last stop on our British Isle cruise, and it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And she's just holding the camera, and you can see our opening from the side of the ship there in our sheltered balcony. It's just like looking at a television screen. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. And seeing this beautiful area here, these phenomenal looking condos and homes and apartments, and then the big church here downtown. We could not get enough of this type of imagery. Absolutely fantastic. No question about it. It's worth your while. 19 days on the ship. The first few days, it's all about the ship. Then it's all about what you're seeing from the ship, and then you forget that you're actually a rock star. The ship is actually a popular thing for people to come and see. Here's another kind of a view you can get as you leave different ports. We were leaving, I think it was Greenock, near Glasgow, and looking out over the beautiful sunset and the Highlands here in Scotland. We couldn't get enough of this. This is just stunning. You know, this isn't my hometown, I'll tell you that. Boy, I'll tell you, this is really, really amazing. and you take this with you, and you don't delete these videos. I'll tell you that right now. You keep these in your camera forever. Show them to your friends and go, look at this. This is what Scottish Isle cruising is about. These kinds of incredible views. And of course, for some folks on the ship, they are, their grandparents were from here, their great grandparents were from here, great grandparents. We're going back generations. Many folks from this area immigrated into North America over, in the 1800s, early 1900s. So there's a lot of history here from those on the ship who were, looking over the land that their ancestors grew up in. Very, very nice. Here's another shot of Scotland. We caught up with a Holland America ship that was docked and using their lifeboats to tendering passengers on and off. And just stunning, the highlands in the background, and tour buses waiting for these folks to go and explore the area, so on. Yeah, on days like this, beautiful as it looks, unfortunately it was a rainy, misty day, but still, can't take anything away from this. There are days at sea as well, between stops like this, and you remind yourself that you're on one of the most beautiful vessels on the ocean. And what you do is you start re-exploring the ocean liner you're on. Look at those birds just gliding along here, having a wonderful time of it, fishing for their dinner. But on the I think it was the day after this or so, Jennifer and I wandered into the library on our ship here on the Queen Mary 2. And you can take a book out for a couple of days at a time, and then you bring it back before the cruise is over, and there's no charge. 10,000 books in this library. Check this out, 10,000 books. Check these shelves. Each of them have a door in front of them so that in rough seas, none of the books come flying out. These books you see here are only on display. I can assure you that if we're going into rougher seas, the librarian is all over this area to take any loose articles off of these counters, and these books are tucked away inside these lit shelving units. Absolutely amazing how gorgeous this is. The floor, the reading area, the lamps, and then you have the windows out, looking out over the sea outside. Amazing. All kinds of displays going on all the time. This is just, this alone, you can come into this library for an hour and not see it all. It's huge. Quiet, of course. Rather sophisticated. Very, very nice. Stamp collection from Canada. All about the Queen Mary 2. Very, very cool. This is really something. You are talking about a 5-star luxury cruise liner. And you can get on this ship for the same kind of price that you would get on a Royal Caribbean cruise or Holland America cruise or Norwegian. Similar price. You don't pay $500 a night to be on this ship. Now you can pay $500 to $1,000 per evening on this vessel. Oh yeah, you want to book yourself into one of the Queen's Grill suites? Oh yeah, sure. Oh, they've got those. But no, we found that from our balcony, these views here were priceless. Here's the thing too about our sheltered balcony. Since we're on the very edge of the ship, we don't have the lifeboats below us. The lifeboats are above us. Deck 7 is the promenade deck. That we're on deck 6, so the promenade deck is above us with all the lawn chairs, and the lifeboats are up on deck 8. And so if you're renting or taking a balcony on deck 8, 9, or 10, the first thing you see looking down at your feet are the top of the lifeboats. We looking down are looking straight down to the water. It's fantastic. Totally different. This, by the way, is a shot leaving a ship that was leaving Southampton near us. It's kind of neat to see this sort of stuff. Very, very cool. And another shot here of Southampton, leaving Southampton that glorious Friday, August the 30th, starting our 12-day cruise, British Isle cruise. A lot of private vessels were out Friday afternoon. People were enjoying themselves. Ferries, of course, going through here with vehicles on them, trucks and cars and people and so on and so forth. Very busy area here. And I was out here for an hour taking clip after clip after clip after clip. I can't possibly give them all to you. Impossible. Highly recommend this vessel and highly recommend being on here. The food was great. We only ate in the main dining room one time. Not that we didn't like it. It was fine. But I got to tell you, Jennifer and I really enjoyed the buffet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We just enjoyed the buffet. It was a very good quality. They had various sections in the buffet for you to choose from. They had the sushi area with constant fresh food coming out all the time. Absolutely phenomenal. I had so much tuna there. It was great. They had the Asian section of the buffet. Every day, different style of Asian food available. They had the English sort of section, and they had a little bit of the European, North American area. Lots of variety of food, lots of variety of desserts all the time. The ice cream machine was always running, so you can just go up there, hit the handle, and enjoy yourself. All you want, just all you want. Breakfast, lunch, and then dinner. They changed it up for lunch and dinner every day. Breakfast is almost always the same. And you could even order room service in your cabin, no additional charge. You get a breakfast brought to your cabin if you want it. Just order, anything as basic as just coffee or tea or a full-blown breakfast or anything in between, no extra charge. 24 hours a day room service available, no extra charge on Cunard. And this was something to think about, the little things that were available. They, of course, had the Lion's Den pub on board where you could enjoy some British pub-style food and drink. The drinks were extra, of course. Alcoholic drinks were extra, but reasonably priced. And if you wanted to spring for a full-blown drink package, knock yourself out. Jen and I did not feel it necessary whatsoever to bother with that. We went a la carte, and as I said, we had 2 bottles of wine in our cabin, and Jen would stretch those out for 5 days, 6 days. Yeah, a glass here, a glass there, no problem at all. Rather than buying a glass at a time at $6, $8, $10 a glass, depending on the brand of wine we're talking about. No, it was wonderful. I found that doing all the walking that I was doing on the promenade deck, all the walking I did, and I specifically went out every morning, every afternoon, and in the evenings for another walk. I constantly took walks on the promenade deck. I just found that I was trimming up. I swear I was trimming up. I was definitely finding my sea legs, and I was definitely finding my endurance levels. Once around, the promenade deck is a third of a mile. 3 times around is a mile. And so towards the end of the 19-day run, I could walk 6, 7 loops, a couple of miles. And I wasn't pushing it. You could just see me here just relaxing and enjoying the pace. And some days I would wear my hat. Some days just wear my windbreaker. It all depended on the winds and the temperature. Not a problem. Really I'll just mute this now. This walk here was my favorite. Walking along, you're walking here almost the length of a football field, from the back of the ship to the first open area here. because it's all sheltered in with the glass and so on. But then you come out here, the glass ends and it's open air, and you're 300 feet down the way. You're almost a quarter of the distance of the ship from the back to this area, and it opens up with a wide walk area. A lot of folks jogging across here, always jogging. You could go up to the 12th deck as well and walk up there quite a bit. A little windier because you're open to the sky, of course. We're talking about a ship that is 20 stories tall, 70. They say 70 meters from the waterline to the top of the ship that you can go onto. And there are two observation areas at the front of the ship, one just below the bridge and one above the bridge. So there is so much to explore here. You will not be bored at all, not in the slightest. You will look forward to going out here every day and enjoying the walk and seeing the aft of the ship, the front of the ship, starboard side, port side, and watching the water pass by. Absolutely phenomenal. Can't recommend this ship highly enough for those of you who are thinking of going on a cruise. If you're older, like myself, you're over 60, you're going to love this cruise ship big time. If you're in your 20s and 30s, you're going to find it not to your liking from an activity point of view. You're going to crave maybe a lot more action. But when this ship does go to the Caribbean, you're in absolutely super warm weather. You know that these loungers will be frequented by a lot of people. But across the Atlantic and around the British Isle, end of August, early September, it's cooler. And so you're not going to be lying on the lounger with just your bathing suit. You'll go to the top of the ship where they have the indoor pool area and loungers up there, and you'll enjoy that. But I'll tell you, you cannot get enough, in my opinion, of this vessel when you're on it. She is something else. The service is great. The room stewards are fantastic. The waiters and waitresses were great, wonderful. Crew would say hi to you in the hallway all the time. Really, really well-run cruise line. And so 19 days. We were on we got one more 10-day trip coming up in October. We're heading from Hamburg, Germany, back to New York. And we're looking forward to being on her one more time. And that'll be 29 days on this vessel. Nice little time on board the Queen Mary 2. Thank you for joining me today. I hope I didn't bore you too much with some of my footage. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I say, getting one of these sheltered balconies, way to go. They're the cheapest balconies on the ship. By the way, the value is there. You're getting a really good deal and super stable ride and great bedding, clean rooms, well attended, no complaints from Jen and I whatsoever. Well worth it for you to consider this ship. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. We'll see you again next time from Traveling with Bruce. All the best. Bye for now.